Good morning, guys. This is Yuvraj from the Brainstorm Force team, and in today's exciting new video, we're going to learn how to add the course schema to our WordPress website using Schema Pro. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is the benefits of having the course schema on your website. Let me show you the results that you can expect. So this is the kind of result you can expect by having the course schema on your website. Now this is a mobile view only. I've switched to a mobile view inside my desktop using the Chrome's emulation tools. And this is the specific result I'm talking about. You'll see a single result that you can expect in the search, but a carousel of multiple results below them with a lot of detail about the course themselves. I wouldn't say a lot of detail, but yeah, an excerpt of the course that you can expect in the search results. Also, if you look at the Google's structured data guidelines for the course schema or course rich results, then you'll see similar results as an example right here, which I just showed you. But there's an important thing inside the structured data guidelines that I wanted to talk about, which is the guidelines specifically of what you can say in the course schema. This is unique to the course schema. I haven't seen this in any other schema types. So here are the technical guidelines that I was talking about, that you can't use promotional phrases in when you are talking about the course. So you can't say best school in the world, best course in the world, best training online available. Can't use prices, the price information about how much you're charging for a course, and you can't make a claim for a course, make money online with this, or level up your skills, or you can not even just mention any kind of discounts about how much pricing or discount you're offering. So the simple idea that I can understand here is that you can't make claims related to pricing or what results you can expect when someone takes a course. You can only tell what the course is about. So if I'm selling a photography course, I can't say sell your prints online by learning this photography course, or get this photography course at 50% discount. I can just say photography course for beginners, or landscape photography course, or something like that. With that out of the way, let's start with the actual process. I'll go back to my WordPress website. Inside the magical world of WordPress, we can start creating the course schema with Schema Pro. But there's one more clarification that I'd like to make before we proceed. So the clarification I wanted to talk about is what kind of websites can have the course schema. Is it only websites that have courses or host courses themselves? Or if you just talk about a certain course, then can you have the course schema? Well, the answer is all of them can have the course schema. As I showed you in the example, the Coursera website obviously has the schema. That is why the courses are appearing in a rich result. But even if you are talking about a specific course on a website that is not hosted on your website and is hosted on maybe Coursera or Skillshare or a bunch of other different education platforms, even then you can have the course schema on your website. And obviously, if you're hosting content on your own website or your course on your own website, you can obviously have the course schema as well. I hope that makes it clear on what websites can use the course schema. Now let's go back again in WordPress and start with the actual process. Back in the magical world of WordPress, let's start creating schema by going into Settings, Schema Pro. And since we are creating a new schema, I'll click Add New. From the schema selection screen, I'll choose Course option and click the Next button. So these are the targeting options, and these help us tell Schema Pro on what particular pages and posts do we want to add the course schema on. Now, obviously, your website is made up of different kinds of pages and posts. You might have reviews, you might have just basic articles, you might be talking about n number of things, and not all pages will have the same kind of schema. That's why we need some way to tell Schema Pro what specific pages should get the course schema in this example. So the targeting options help you with that. So what I'm going to do is show you the options, and then I'll describe what I'm going to do. So we have a bunch of options here. We can enable or add the schema on all singulars. That means all pages, posts, and custom post types. That means singulars of custom post types. Only the front page of our website, all the posts, all the pages, all custom posts, or different kinds of custom posts. These both are different kinds of custom posts, and also specific pages, posts, or archives or taxonomies. The taxonomies could be categories, tags, or any custom taxonomy that you create. So for now, what I've done is created a separate taxonomy or category on my website, and I just want to add the course schema on that particular category. So I'm going to select this option, specific pages, posts, archives. And this will open up a search box, and I'll type in the name of the category that I've selected, which is course. And in just a couple of seconds, Schema Pro searched my entire website and brought me 3 results from just course. It searched for a post or found a post, it also found a page, but also found a category. In this case, I want all the singulars from this category to get the schema. So I'm not going to choose these options. I'm going to choose the singular or the category option. But if you have a particular page or post that you want to add the schema on just on that particular page, then you have the option to do so as well. I'm going to select it. And I also have exclusion rules which have the same options. And using this, I can create exceptions. For example, I might have some pages in the course category which are not talking about courses, but maybe the benefits of taking courses. So that's not talking about a specific course. So I wouldn't want to add the schema on that page. So I can create an exception using the same targeting options in the exclusion rules. So once the targeting options are complete, let's head to the next page by clicking the next button. The schema is created. Let's head to the next step. So this is the schema edit page, and you have a bunch of options to customize the schema. The first one would be to name the schema. The default name for a course schema is actually course, of course, but you can name it to a different way or name it in a custom way. So you can identify the course schema from other schemas. Specifically, if you create multiple types of schema with some level of detail, it will help you identify what course schema or what schema is meant for which pages and posts. Again, we have targeting options, which we just customized. You can recustomize them or change them anytime in the future by coming back to this page. And coming to the fields themselves, here is how we configure the schema or what data goes into the schema. So there are a bunch of things to understand. Let me start with the first and the basic step, which is this blog post. So this is a link that we include with every schema type or every page for a schema customization option. And this will take you to a blog post on our website. Let me just click it and open it. And this blog post just describes the entire process that I'm just going to explain to you in, I would say, equal amount of detail. But if you prefer written content, you want to save a reference and you want to send some instructions to your team so that they can quickly navigate and understand what they're doing, you can send them the link to this blog post. And if you're not a Schema Pro customer, I'll include a link down in the description as well so you can check it out. So coming to the fields themselves, before we start explaining or exploring the fields, you should know that there are two kinds of fields. One are mandatory fields and other are recommended fields. The mandatory fields are highlighted with red asterisks, so you have to fill them in if you want your schema to be valid. And the recommended fields can be left empty, but they're recommended. And with schema, usually the more data you provide to Google, the better your results usually are. So whenever possible, try to fill in all the information that you possibly can. Coming to the fields, as you can see, you have a bunch of different fields and a lot of different options to understand. So coming to the fields themselves, as you can see, there are a bunch of different options to configure. And it might look intimidating, but it's actually not. It's pretty simple and straightforward to understand. So Schema Pro has a great feature that it lets you map the data that needs to go into the schema to existing metadata on your pages and posts. To explain that, let me share an example. Do you see the description field right here? And you see it's mapped to the content. Now what that means is whenever you add the course schema to any page, or whenever any page is added to the category which schema is going on, in particularly this example, the description that is going to the schema will automatically be mapped to the content of the post. So this just helps you save a bunch of time and you don't have to enter a lot of data manually. Let me show you all the other fields that you have access to. So you can actually map your fields to the site title, tagline, URL, post title, content, excerpt, and a bunch of different options. And you can even create new custom fields, which just means you can add the data on the post itself. And as you can see right here, a bunch of different fields have new custom field written in it, which means that you'll be able to add the data on the post itself. Now, the beauty of Schema Pro is that once you configure the schema and add it to a bunch of posts, most of the data will come from the post itself, but you'll have the option of adding certain information on the post itself. So what I'm going to do is save this schema right here. We'll head on to a post and I'll explain the fields and how to configure them on the post itself. So let's save the schema first. And as you can see, schema has been updated. So let's open up a post on our website and then I'll show you how the process goes. So this is a post that I have on my website. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Photography, which sounds like a course. And I also ensured that this post specifically was in the courses category, which means that this post should have the schema. And to check if this post got the schema, all I have to do is scroll down and I can see the course schema here. Now talking about the course schema once again, there are actually two ways to fill in the course schema and both are valid ways to do so. The first one I'd call the simple mode, where there is not much information to be put in, or you don't have the information, or you don't want to fill it in. And the second I would call an advanced mode. These are not terms that are defined in the product. I'm just making those terms up so I can explain this or explain the process better. And in the second mode, you can enter a lot more information about the courses themselves. Now, obviously, you'll choose the mode depending on whether you have the information or not. But let's start with the simple method. And in the simple method, these are all the fields that you'll need to fill in. You'll fill in the course title, the description, the course code, course provider, and reference link, and rating and reviews or number of reviews. Now, coming to the fields themselves, as you can see, the course title and description are mandatory fields, and they've already been mapped to the title and the content of the post. So the course title is coming from this, which it makes sense. But in case the description or the description of the course is not exactly like you would want in the or from the content, what you can do is click this icon and then enter a custom description, and that will affect only this page, not all the other pages that you have created or added to the schema. And if I want to go back, I can just click this wrench icon and it will be mapped to content once again. Coming to the course code, it's just a code that you can internally assign to your courses, or if there's a specific course ID that some other course provider has given to their course, then you can name or you can enter that course code here. Since this is a photography course, let's say BG for beginners, BG PH01 is the course code, and in similar manner you can enter any course code which is applicable to the course. Coming to the course provider, you can also use the tooltip to understand more details if you forget about it, or you want a reminder of what information needs to go into specific fields. Let's look at the course provider, the organization that publishes the source content of the course. So if you are publishing your course yourself, you'll probably enter your name here. And if you have an organization which is publishing the course, or a business name that is publishing the course, you'll enter here. Let's make up a fictional organization for this course. I'll call it Pixel Matter. And coming to the reference link. Now, if you're talking about courses on your website and you have provided information or some of the information to Google, Google needs a reference link so that it can verify the information. So if you're talking about the course hosted on your website, you might set it to the permalink of this page or a specific page that you have for this course. And if you're talking about courses hosted on third-party websites, you can just enter the link of that third-party website or the specific page where the course is available to purchase in the reference link section. Coming to ratings and reviews, now obviously when you have courses hosted on other third-party websites, you need a way to tell Google how many ratings and reviews they have received. And that is exactly what you see here. You can provide a ratings and also the review. So let me start filling up the fields. For the reference link, I'll just fill in a dummy post or dummy URL. So I filled in the information, and one important thing that you need to remember is that the ratings and reviews, though, whatever you're entering here, needs to be accurate. One of the main causes of pages being disqualified for schema is that the information that they provide in the schema is not accurate. So if you have a course on another website, or you're talking about a specific course on another website, so make sure that the review count and the rating that you provide here is up to date. And this is all the information you need to fill in for the simple mode. Let me update the post and I'll test the schema out, and we'll see if schema is actually valid and do we qualify for rich results. So this is the actual page that users or visitors will see. Let's test the schema by clicking the test schema button right here. And the testing has begun. Let's wait till the test is complete. So the testing is complete, and as you can see, the page is eligible for rich results, with courses being one of the key schemas or rich schemas that are being detected. Let's open up the courses section and see all the details. And as you can see, all the details that we filled in on the post are being visible or are appearing in the schema perfectly. And this is all the information you need technically to qualify for rich results. But as I mentioned, with schema, the more information you provide to Google, the better it is. So we'll also look at the second way, or the advanced way, which provides more information to Google. And also you can see the review snippets that we provided, which was the specific rating that we just gave for this demonstration. Also the number of reviews are also appearing as a review snippet. So let's go back to WordPress and I'll talk about the advanced mode. So I'm back in my website, and specifically back on the post which we were customizing or which we were adding the schema on. And to use the advanced mode, all you have to do is add a course instance. Now, instance just means a specific version of the course. Just like you have books in paperback versions, you have ebooks, you have audiobooks, and you have hardcovers. You can have or deliver a course in multiple ways. You can deliver a course on a one-on-one coaching, through a video call, as a pre-bundled package, as an ebook, and various other ways. So when you add a course instance, you can tell Google or other search engines that this is a way that this course is being distributed or being delivered. And you can have multiple instances if a single course is delivered in more than one way. For example, you might deliver a course in digital form. That means students can just sign up and watch the course. And also sometimes you might take physical or one-on-one coaching or one-to-many coachings. So you would add both the course instances in this case. For this example, I'll just add one instance and show you all the fields that you'll need to configure. So I'll add a course instance by clicking this plus icon. And this will bring up all these fields. And as I mentioned, the fields that have the red asterisks in front of them are mandatory fields. So when you add the course instance, you have to fill in at least the fields that you see in red. And they're appearing in red because they are mandatory fields, and Schema Pro is trying to tell us, hey, these are mandatory fields. Why haven't you filled them? If you don't fill them in, then your schema will be invalid. So this is just a nice indication or a nice feature in Schema Pro that lets you know that these fields are important to fill in. So let me explain the fields to you quickly, and then what I'll do is pause the video and fill in all these fields so that we can save some time. So instance name is just an internal name that you can give to your distribution or course. So you might have a digital version, so you can write digital or any other code, just like we talked about in the course code. You can just give this a name. Second, you can give the instance description. So if you have a digital version, you'll write something that tells users that, okay, this is a digital version, and respectively for any other instance that you add. In the course mode section, you'll write in the mode that the course is delivered in. Now, mode can be anything. It can mean part-time or full-time. It can mean online, physical, one-on-one, one-to-many. In short, there are no specific guidelines on what you can enter in the course mode section or the course mode field. Just enter a mode that makes most sense for the course that you're talking about on your particular post. Coming to the image section, now this would be obvious. You just have to upload an image that represents the course that you're talking about, and then you can use any image. There are no certain guidelines on what kind of images you can use. In the course status section, you have a few different options to choose from. You don't have to enter one from scratch. You have none, scheduled, rescheduled, postponed, moved online, or cancelled. And choose the one that makes the most sense for the course you're talking about. Let's stick with scheduled for now. Coming to the course attendance mode. Now, the times we are living in, a lot of courses have moved online. So there are options to select if whether your course attendance is physical, or it is an online event, or is it a mix of online and physical locations. To show you the most amount of fields that you might have to fill, I'll show you, or I'll select the mix of online and physical locations field. And as you probably saw, a bunch of different options opened up. We'll discuss them in chronological order. So going to the start date, obviously we'll select a date on which the course is supposed to start. In the end date, if there's a certain timeline when the course ends, you can select it here. Here you'll enter the URL of the course where the course can be actually taken. So if it's hosted on your website, you would select the permalink of your particular post or the URL of the specific page where users can actually start taking the course, or the third-party URL where users can start taking the course. Coming to the course organizer name, many times you might have noticed that the presenter and the organizer are different. If that is the case, we can write the course organizer name in this field and the URL of the course organizer in this field. Now, the location and location address fields will only show up if you select the physical location or the mix of online and physical locations. And obviously, you'll enter the name of the location and the address. Think of this as the name of a stadium, and this would be the address of the stadium. Coming to the price, you'll enter a price that you want to charge for the particular course, or is the price of the course if it's not your course. Here you will select the currency that the course is priced in, and here you will select the offer. So from what date is the course available at that particular price? You will select that here, and obviously you'll select the offer URL where people can actually pay for the course. And also availability, you have a bunch of options to choose from. You can have discontinued, in stock, in store only, and a bunch of different options. Let's say the course is in stock, and also we'll talk about the performer. In this case, if it's your course, you'll write your name, or if it's another person, you'll write their name here. And as I talked about earlier, if you want to add another instance of the course which has different details, all you gotta do is just click this add button right here, and you'll have one more instance added to the section. And if you want to delete the instance or you click it by accident, just click this cross icon and you'll have once again just one instance. So let me pause the video right here and I'll fill in all these details. We'll update the post and we'll check the schema once again, and then we'll talk about one more important thing that you need to know when you're using the course schema. So I've filled in all the details, and probably you can see that it's pretty simple to understand and fill in. And probably my explanation of the fields was sufficient, but now you can also see how the information would look like once it is filled. So now once this is done, let's update the post, and I'll refresh this page once so I can show you some important things that I want you to know for the schema type. So I updated the post and I also refreshed the page, and if you do the same and you are following along, you might wonder, where did the course instance go? You just added it to the post. Well, it's gone nowhere. Just to save some space, it is collapsed. So if you want to check out or you want to change some details, just click the plus icon and the instance that you added now will be visible on the screen. And you'll also notice that the fields that were in red are now no longer in red because the information is now filled in for those mandatory fields, and Schema Pro is just telling you, hey, this is fine. The information is in, so nothing to worry about. So now let's check out the post on the front end of the website and we'll test the schema out once again, and then we'll cover one more important thing. So once again, this is the post in question, and obviously nothing will change on the front end. Let's test the schema once again. The testing has begun. Let's wait for the testing to complete. The testing is complete, and as you can see, once again, the page is eligible for rich results. Big green tick right here. And the courses schema is also visible, but you'll see a lot more detail in the course schema, as you can see right here. And this is all the details, or these are all the details that we filled in specifically just for the advanced mode. And as I mentioned, the more details you can give to Google about any rich snippets, usually it is better. So by filling in all these details, you are giving Google the appropriate data that it needs to make a decision or a call whether your website should appear in the rich results of the search results. Now, talking about the last part that I mentioned, what I wanted to talk about was the review snippets. Now, obviously, when the review snippets are showing up here, the only aggregate rating and the number of reviews and just the rating is showing up. But if you've seen Google's structured data guidelines for reviews, which are here, then you'll know that the course schema is one of the schemas that you can supplement with the review snippet. So if you want to give Google more details about the number of reviews or the kind of reviews that you've gotten on your course or the specific course you're talking about, what you can do is add a review schema onto this post or the specific post that you were talking about. Let's go back to WordPress. Now we've already done a complete video on the review schema, so I'll put it up in the cards above and also a link in the description so you can check it out. And how it will work is, if you add the review schema, what you'll be able to do is take reviews that you've gotten probably on Yelp or maybe Google My Business or any other service, and then provide that data to Google that this is your review, and then it can add up here. And once you add the review schema to this page as well, it will show up in a tab right here. So the course will appear as a tab and the review will also appear as a tab. And then you'll be able to fill in the information about all the reviews that you want to add to the review schema. And then Google will be able to recognize that, all right, this is a review for this particular course, which just supplements or adds more details to your schema, increasing the likelihood that you'll appear in rich results. Of course, if you want to check out all the details on how to fill in the review schema, the link is in the description and also in the annotations card above. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you understood completely how to add the course schema to your website. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get to them as soon as possible. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. Also subscribe to our channel and also hit the bell icon, because then you'll be notified of all the beautiful and amazing content that we produce. You were listening to Yuvraj and watching the Brainstorm Forces YouTube channel. I'll catch you again in the next video. Till then, stay safe and take care.